Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here. Today, we're going to unpack a really fascinating paradox that is completely redefining the business landscape in 2026. We're living through this moment of just unprecedented technological acceleration, and yet what we actually value as consumers is shifting in a completely unexpected direction. So let's dive right into this massive question. Really think about it for a second. What happens to the value of human connection, of intuition and physical craft when technology can automate almost everything else? When artificial intelligence can generate a perfectly formulated image, a travel itinerary, or even a product design in literally seconds, how on earth do businesses stand out? Well, the answer is probably going to surprise you, and it's reshaping everything from how we drive, to how we eat, to what we wear.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the structural reset, look at the EV transition, explore the hospitality pendulum, dive into craft in the AI age, check out the transparency standard, and finally define the ultimate premium. Let's get right into it. Part 1, the 2026 structural reset, where tech moves backstage. What we're seeing across the board right now isn't just some temporary disruption. It's a permanent rewiring of how industries operate and what we demand as consumers. There's this fantastic quote from Janet Lingley, the CEO of March Carson Global, and it perfectly hits the nail on the head. She notes that as technology brings infinite, automated scale, human craft suddenly becomes the scarce, highly valued commodity. Think about it. If code can make 1 million of something instantly, then the thing made slowly by a single human hand, well, that becomes the ultimate luxury. Moving on to part 2, driving the EV transition and the era of scale. To really see how this builds, let's look at the ultimate example of data-driven abundance. Just look at that staggering 79% drop in lithium-ion battery costs since 2013. A decade ago, an EV battery cost almost as much as a luxury car itself. This completely proves that massive, automated scale makes previously out-of-reach technology universally affordable. The plummeting cost of these battery packs, which, by the way, are the most expensive component of an EV, is what makes this entire global transition mathematically possible. And what happens when those costs fall? You get that massive green line shooting upward. That's the skyrocketing trajectory of global EV sales. But it wasn't just the cheap batteries, it was the infrastructure. Tesla's aggressive build-out of its proprietary supercharger network fundamentally killed range anxiety. They used data and massive scale to build thousands of rapid charging stations, totally clearing the runway for this huge spike in consumer adoption. Which brings us to this really crucial number, 1.8 million. That's how many EVs Tesla alone delivered in 2023. Their Model Y actually became the best-selling vehicle in the entire world, gas or electric. They proved that quantitative, automated technology has mastered global abundance. They solve the problem of scaling complex hardware. But here's the catch. As heavy tech peaks and becomes universally available, what happens next? That takes us to part 3, the hospitality pendulum and human-led service. Now, as that tech-driven abundance peaks, we're watching the pendulum swing hard in the exact opposite direction for the hospitality sector. Consumers are just completely overwhelmed by screens, and they desperately crave genuine human empathy. So we're seeing this major behavioral reset. GLP-1 wellness trends are driving a shift towards smaller, more premium portions. Functional health foods are now sort of whispering their benefits through familiar ingredients rather than preaching at the customer. But most importantly, technology is actually being used to fuel a massive return to human-led service. And that brings us to a concept called code in the kitchen. Now, this doesn't mean robot waiters, okay? It means AI is being deployed strictly backstage. It's handling all the heavy lifting of inventory, demand forecasting, and logistics. Why? To totally eliminate operational friction. By making those systems invisible to the guest, it crucially gives hospitality teams the actual time and mental space to look up from their screens, properly host, and truly care for their guests. In a fully automated world, human warmth is the new premium.
All right, section 4, craft in the AI age, the analog renaissance. Let's apply that exact same principle over to luxury fashion. Consumers today are suffering from what industry experts call aesthetic fatigue. Honestly, they're just tired of AI-generated flawlessness and mass-produced perfection. Traditional luxury used to be all about cold perfection and flashy logos, but 2026, it's all about living luxury. This values human-centric design, intentional imperfections, the raw beauty of natural fibers, the sensory judgment of a craftsman, and that unique character-rich hand-stitching of a garment that a machine just literally cannot replicate. The really smart brands have figured out the perfect balance here. Take LVMH, who built an internal AI factory, or the furniture maker Marge Carson. They're using what we call quiet tech. Step 1. They use AIs strictly behind the curtain to visualize designs, optimize workflows, and forecast demand. But step 2 is absolutely non-negotiable. The final physical execution relies entirely on human artisans. The tech makes the business efficient, for sure, but the human is what makes the product valuable.
Which leads to Section 5, the transparency standard, proving the human touch. Here's the thing, though. If human craft is your new premium, brands can't just claim they have it. They have to actually prove it to a highly skeptical consumer base. Enter artisanal traceability. The story behind the product becomes just as important as the product itself. The hours of manual labor, the specific techniques used by the maker, the whole heritage of the atelier, that journey is the new status symbol. It's no longer just about the logo on the bag, it's about the verifiable story of the hands that wove it.
So, how do you verify that story? Through digital product passports, or DPPs. This is where technology brilliantly serves craft. These are secure, blockchain-backed records. A buyer can literally scan a label on their garment and instantly see a digital timeline of exactly who cut, stitched, and finished their piece. It guarantees authenticity, it highlights the artisan, and it completely wipes out counterfeiters. It's a real game changer.
And make no mistake, this matters directly to the bottom line. Research from the business of fashion actually shows that today's consumers are 60% more likely to choose brands that explicitly highlight the human craftsmanship behind their products. Buyers are prioritizing cultural intentionality. They want their purchases to actually mean something, to protect craft and to respect the maker.
Finally, Section 6, the ultimate premium, where scarcity equals value.
So we've looked at EVs, hospitality, and luxury fashion, 3 vastly different sectors, all pointing to one unifying economic reality for 2026. If you take away one core lesson from this explainer, let it be this. The smartest companies use technology aggressively in the back of house to protect and elevate the front of house experience. AI is your fantastic logistics manager, your inventory forecaster, your efficiency engine, but it should absolutely never replace the empathy, the intuition, or the tangible craft that your customer actually feels and touches. Because we are now operating in a permanently divided economy. On one side, we've got the abundant, digital scale, instant AI generation, and mass automation. On the other side, we have the scarce, physical mastery, genuine human empathy, and sensory intuition. Basic economics tells us that when supply becomes infinite, when software can generate literally anything instantly, the scarce element, which is human excellence, becomes the ultimate premium. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up today's explainer. Take a hard look at your own business, your career, or even just your lifestyle in this new 2026 paradigm. When the algorithms can do pretty much everything else, are you out there trying to outcompute the machines? Or are you actively investing in the one thing they can never, ever replicate? Will you compete on digital scale or the mastery of the human touch? Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.